For 3 years, my coworkers talked about me in Spanish because they thought I couldn't understand them. Last Friday, I gave my presentation in Spanish. My grandmother raised me in Puerto Rico until I was 12. Spanish was my first language. She made sure of it. Said being bilingual would open doors. She was right, just not in the way she expected. But I'm pale, light eyes. People look at me and assume I grew up in Ohio or something. First week at my new job, I walked into the break room and heard 2 women talking in Spanish. One of them was named Marisol. She looked me up and down and said to her friend, "Great, another gringa who's going to need her hand held." I opened my mouth to respond in Spanish. Then I stopped. Something told me to wait, to listen. Best decision I ever made. The first year, they kept it professional. Marisol would look at my work and say things like, "This is what happens when they hire for diversity instead of talent." Her friend Daniela would laugh and agree. I heard them call me slow, incompetent, a waste of a desk. I kept quiet and kept working harder than anyone else on the team. Year 2, they went personal. My hair, my clothes, the way I walked. She dresses like she's going to church. No wonder she's single. I bet she goes home and talks to her plants. I learned to eat lunch at my desk so I wouldn't have to hear them in the break room. Year 3, Marisol stopped being subtle. She CC'd herself on my emails and forwarded my reports to leadership like they were hers. She told our director that I needed extra guidance and volunteered to oversee my projects. Then came the conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. Marisol told Daniela she'd already talked to HR about performance concerns. Said she was building a case to get me fired by summer. I sat in the bathroom stall and let myself cry for 5 minutes. Then I wiped my face and checked my email. Company presentation next month. Open to all employees. Leadership attending. I hit reply before I could change my mind. Friday morning. Conference room B. Half the company showed up because leadership was attending. Marisol made sure she had a front row seat. She wanted to watch me fail up close. I saw her lean over to Daniela right before I started. $10 she doesn't make it 5 minutes without stumbling. I heard every word. I opened with the English portion. Kept it tight. Professional. Built momentum for 10 minutes until I got to the Latin American strategy section. Then I stopped. Clicked to a slide that just said Estrategia Regional. For this section, I said, I'll be presenting in Spanish. Marisol's smile froze on her face. I looked right at her. Didn't blink. Then I switched. Flawless Spanish. The accent my grandmother drilled into me for 12 years. I talked about expansion markets, partnership opportunities, local consumer trends, and then I said it. Some people think being bilingual is just about translation, but it's also about listening, understanding what people say when they think no one is paying attention. I watched Marisol's face collapse, watched Daniela shrink in her seat. For example, I continued, I've heard some very interesting opinions about hiring practices at this company, about who belongs here, about who's dead weight. It's been educational. The CEO leaned forward. The room was so quiet I could hear the AC. I finished my presentation without breaking a sweat. When I was done, the VP of marketing stood up and started clapping, then the CEO, then everyone except 2 people in the front row. Marisol cornered me in the hallway after. Her face was red, hands shaking. "You set me up," she hissed. "You've been lying this whole time." I tilted my head. "I never lied. You just never asked." She opened her mouth to say something else, but the CEO walked past. He nodded at me. Didn't even look at her. Marisol transferred to a different department 2 weeks later. I got promoted to lead the Latin American expansion. My grandmother cried when I told her.